Bum, bum, bum. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here. Was deep in conversation, was like, oh crap, we need to go live. So I apologize for the delay on that. I hope everybody is doing well. Mike Noodle, good morning. Azure, how are you doing? Siren, as always, thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate you moderating. Scrap Metal Racing, how are you doing? David Carlisle, good to see you. Neil Hahn's been in the house. Hope everybody is well. Jack Young, what's going on? Hey, Jack, I just saw the images. Let me know what you want me to do with those. If you're going to come up, more than welcome. Luther, what's going on? Good morning. How are you? Good to see you. And I'm sure there's other people, but I haven't seen you come in. So uh, if I missed you, I apologize. Good morning, Pedro. What's going on? Speaking of Pedro, we are going to be talking about a coin that was sent to me. Oh, look at this. Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, there's my friend.
What's going on, brother?
Jack. Oh. He's like, what?
I can see you, but you ain't saying nothing.
I'm trying to get there. Am I
There
there?
you are.
There you are. Now we got you.
Okay. Good morning.
How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, thanks. How's everybody?
Doing well, thank you.
It's a king jelly bean.
So I saw you sent me a couple photos. We'll get to those in a minute. I want to talk about the coin that I have up in the middle of my screen. I'm going to make that big here just a second. So we're going to be talking about this coin right here. Now, for those of you who haven't seen this, I want you to kind of look at that slab very carefully and tell me what you see. This is courtesy of Vote for Pedro. Sent this to the channel as a way to support the channel. So huge thanks to him for doing that. We're going to be talking about this. I've done some research. We've got some information that I want to bring up to everybody. Going to talk about what do you do in a situation like this, and how does this kind of stuff happen? So we're just going to have general chit chat about this. I know Jack, you and I talked a little bit about this. Actually, we have all talked about this, about having slabs like this in our collections. What happens when we have stuff like this occur? What do you do? What is the TPG responsible for? What do they have to do? And what is the process? Just because you send in a new submission sheet doesn't mean that they're going to cover it. There are very specific rules to what you need to do to be able to send back something. So if you all are not tracking this, if you all not understanding what's going on here, let's talk a little bit about numismatic history. So the coin that you see in this holder, what year did it come out?
You want an answer?
No.
Okay, dang it.
Yeah, when Pedro sent me this, he was like, "I'm going to send you, you buy the coin, not the slab." He's like, "But I'm going to show you where the exception of the rule is." Mike Noodle, 1836.
What?
I think he's joking a little
Yeah.
bit. Close up, please. Okay, so bring up a little bit. I'll bring
Yeah,
this.
you mean it's show what? Anyway.
So here, let me do this. Let me actually zoom in a little bit, and I will do this a different way.
It's a 3-cent nickel, Mike.
Yep. Make that a little bit bigger. Okay, now you can see that. And I know those people that are looking on the vertical side. So let me get into my camera and actually turn on
Oh.
property. Oh, Mike's playing around. I knew he was playing. All right, so let's get into the zoom a little bit. There we go. All right, and let's turn off autofocus.
Closer on the label, Luther says. Good morning, Luther.
Okay. We'll zoom in a little bit more so you can see this. And then we'll up and tilt up. Up. There you go. All right, so now you can see that a little bit better. What's going on, Reckless? How you doing, bud? Good to see you. You were stuck in a different chat. Yeah, we do streaming in two different ways, so we'll kind of talk about that. So again, you see here, I've got to actually tilt this down just a hair because you need to be able to see that coin. You probably won't see the date of the coin, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. So what we're seeing here is an 1863 3-cent silver. Now, do you guys know what a 3-cent silver looks like?
Not like that.
If you don't, that's very important because this is the wrong coin. So let's talk about the 3-cent silver. Now, I've done this real quick, trying to bounce back and forth between a couple things because I tried to make it better for you. This is a 3-cent silver. Okay, so it's important to understand that the coin that we're looking at is not a 3-cent silver. So this slab is I didn't before I saw this slab. Yeah, exactly. So again, when you look at this, this label is calling to this particular coin. Now, this particular coin came out years before this coin did. This coin didn't come out until 1865. This coin came out well before that. But the coin that you see in the actual holder is a 3-cent nickel. It is not a 3-cent silver. And the year is 1868, not 1863. This particular coin that's in here couldn't have been 1863 because it didn't come out for an additional 2 more. So this is an actual NGC slab. This is an error slab. This is incorrect. It's obviously not supposed to be that way. And these things happen. Now, I think a couple of you said, I know Jack has one of these. Eric or Paula, do you happen to have one of these?
No.
Nope.
So
Yeah,
Jack,
the ones I have, I actually put in those images, Frosty.
okay, I'll have to pull that up here in just a second.
Yeah.
Okay. I figured that was probably what we were leaning into, but I wasn't quite sure with the images. I'll pull those up and then we'll show those here in just a second. So one thing that I want to do is I'm bouncing back and forth.
I can, Mike. I can, Mike. Pick me, pick me.
What did he say? 3-cent silver, though, is one of the only 2 coins that don't have a word liberty on them.
I know.
Okay,
You know?
I do. So does Jack Riley.
Well,
Yeah, I like, excuse me, I like this coin trivia type stuff. This is a lot of fun. So again, when we're looking at
the 2-cent.
say again,
The 2-cent.
the 2-cent has it on
2-cent does not have the word liberty on it.
oh, that's
The
right, it
2-cent.
doesn't. The 2-cent was the one that had the first "In God We Trust," right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
1864.
So I'm trying to pull this up, and for some reason, it's not allowing me to share that screen, Jack. Here we go. I got it. Okay. So this is not totally uncommon. These things happen from time to time. And you'll see, I don't know. Can't
go
see
back.
that image very well.
Can you go back to the first one?
Because it's a lovely
I don't know which the first one is.
chocolate brown. It's a
Oh,
dark
the first one you had up on the screen.
This one? Okay.
Yes. Okay, so that is not a 1912 1 cent.
I don't think it's brown either.
Well, it's kind of brown. It's kind of brown and kind of grayish, but that one's kind of a big miss also. I don't think they looked anything like that in 1912.
No.
Yeah, and again, so in this particular case, here's the question for everybody. If you were to find one of these, what how would you get this corrected? If you sent something in and you were like, "Hey, this isn't right." How would you send this in? Would you uh fill out another form, ship it back in, let them know that they goofed up? What process would you take? And the reason that I want to do this is number one, if you do it incorrectly, you're going to get charged all the appropriate fees. You're going to get charged for grading. You're going to have to pay for shipping to and from. And if you're doing something like an error, if you're doing some sort of error label, you're going to have to pay for that. And a lot of people are like, well, that's not cool. NGC sucks or PCGS suck. But they actually list specific information. And so if you don't do it right, you can potentially cost yourself a bunch of money. So I'm going to share a different screen real quick. And
No,
what I'm going to,
no, people
Could
like
we
you and me and Jack and Eric, we wouldn't send it back in at all.
I wouldn't be sending this back in at all. That is absolutely correct. All right. So when we're talking about doing this, if you do it wrong and you look about the various grading, depending upon which one you send through, some of the cost, and again, you look at the cost of the coin. So depending upon the coin that you're dealing with, the fees change. We know this. If you want to have it rapidly go through the process, you have to pay more money. If you want to have things like, again, if you're going to pay fast track, you have to pay additional money. $40 per coin. If you're going to be looking at gold, depending upon the value. Now, here's what's funny: if you're going to be sending in a 1 ounce gold, it's automatically over $3,000. Be aware of that. A lot of people look at this and say gold $3,000. That's fine. Gold is over $3,000 per ounce, so you're going to be paying more than this amount of money. So again, pay attention to the value of the items you're sending in because the values change depending upon the value of the cost. The changes depend upon the value of the coin, and then you can see how long it takes and so on and so forth. Now, here's the kicker: if you have something called a mechanical error. Now, a mechanical error is something that is what they classify this particular item. There are very specific things that need to happen. And one of the things that you need to do is you need to contact customer service first. Now, why is that important? Because if you fill out another form and send it in, it's basically either a resubmission or a new submission. They When they look at this, they may not have any understanding of what's going on. They have no idea that you submitted one ahead of time. Uh, they're just looking this as a brand new submission. So in order to do this, you have to make sure that you talk with them, explain what's going on, and show them what's happening. Now, not all issues qualify. This is why you have to talk with them. Because when you talk with them, they're like, well, we're sorry you didn't list that you wanted that error attribution done. Well, you charged me for error attribution. Oh, well, then we can refund the money, right? They can work through those elements. But if you pay to have something done, they charge you for it, and then don't provide the service, they're required to fix it. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that, and I'm not looking at chat. If you're saying something in chat, bear with me. I'm not looking at chat. I've got a couple different screens open right now. But one thing that people need to understand is that when you submit the form to do your coins, number one, you have to understand the rules, read the microprint, right? But it's also a contract. You're filling a contract between you and the TPG that says, I am lending you this coin to review it, grade it, and then send it back to me. There are fees associated with that, but you're entering in that contract. When you submit that, if they don't fulfill their end of the contract based off of what's listed there, barring the person who's sending it doing an error in the form submission, right? Again, if you make a mistake, that's whatever. Uh, they won't necessarily know exactly what to do. That's on you. But if it's all filled out correctly, they acknowledge it, they don't perform that task, and they charge you for it, then you need to go to customer service, talk to them about exactly what happened, what's going on. They will pull up your form. They will validate that they were in fact wrong, and then they will send you information on how to get it to them. Now, in this particular case, they tell you whether it's a label defect or whether it's a holder defect, what's going on, what needs to happen. If it's a label defect, you do not have to be the person submitting. Why is that important? Because I just got this coin from Vote for Pedro. If I wanted to correct it, by the way, I don't. I want to maintain this, but I am going to do something. Um, Actually, I want to talk to Jack about this and see what his thoughts would be on this. But I don't have to be a member. If it's a label issue, I can send it back once I talk with them, validate, understand what's going on. I know the process. I can send it back to them. Why in the hell would NGCU do this? Because they don't want a bunch of these bad labels floating around. They
Mm-mm.
have a level of integrity. They have a level of professionalism that they want to maintain, right? So what's important here, and I hear a lot of people gripe about this. Eric and I talked about this, and I walked through this process with him, and we were explaining some things, and it's like, did that make sense, right? Um, but it's important for people to understand that you have to look at the company's processes and policies, make some determinations before you enter into contract with them. This goes for any business. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're going to be involving somebody, understand what their rules are, understand what their processes are. This is smart business. And again, if you're going to be sending money and you're spending for a service, it's a business transaction. Okay, so make sure you understand what the requirements are. Once you meet that requirement, you might have to pay for shipping to NGC, but they will pay for shipping back to you. If it's something that's covered, and they tell you what's not covered, optical distortion, rainbow, prism effects, and stuff like that. These aren't holder defects. They're not qualifying items, scratches, scuffs, blemishes, any of that kind of stuff. Hey, if they're there, then you should keep your things in holders, right? Like you can take these
Maybe
little
plastic.
plastic things. You see down at the
Plastic.
bottom. Yep, take these little plastic containers and keep your slabs in them. If you don't do that, then unfortunately, uh, you're going to have to send it in and pay for reholdering. Now, there's couple different things, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about that as well.
Paula's
But
peeve.
say again, Paula.
I said one of Paula's pet peeves.
Yeah, and
Protect your
again,
lab.
it does make a difference. And Jack, I saw your message on there, but I'm not looking at that yet. I'll look at that in just a second. Um, so how long do you have to submit this? Well, 14 days. Now, 14 days for a mechanical error. This does not include labels. Okay. So on this particular one, this is a label issue. It can be done at any time. But if it's like, let's say, for instance, we're looking at this particular one, and let's say that this little area right here busted off, and you get this and it's done, or you get it and the slab is cracked, or the label is sitting over the coin, like it came out of this little holder for some reason and it slid down, and your label is down here. The time frame for you to send that in and contact them is 14 days. Right? If you wait and you don't open your box, now, Eric, you were talking yesterday, could you imagine getting all these mint things in and leaving them in the box because you got them
Mhm.
in? You better look at your stuff because you do have a time frame,
Yep.
right? And so it's extremely important that you guys are looking at um, what the requirements are, what the rules are, what qualifies. You'll see a lot of videos, and I went back and looked through a couple of them. And initially, I was going to pull them up, and I'm like, no, because then I call people out for being a crybaby. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to inform people how they can better take care of themselves versus complaining about something that they just don't understand the process about. So I opted not to show the videos where people are like, "Oh my god, this is graded wrong," and "Oh my god, look at this, they didn't include the error attribution." Let me see your form. They send you the form back. Did you document it? Did you document it right? Yes. Did you contact them? Well, I'm eventually going to do it, but they did the video 30 days after they received the stuff. And so, again, understand the process, understand what's here. So, how do you contact NGC? Well, they tell you click here. So, when you click here, it opens up a new window. Unfortunately, I'm sharing only the one window. So let me go back. And then it brings it up. You put your information in, and then here you have various items, and you click the submission verification label questions. Document what's going on. They will contact you. The submission of this form starts that clock. So if you do this in 13 hours and 10 minutes, you submit your form. It's the time you submit the form that counts. Fill the information out. And then again, if you want to follow it up with an email, service@ngc.coin.com. Now, is this only for NGC? Nope, because again, you look at different message boards, you'll see that this is something that happens quite frequently. I'm going to share the entire screen here because, again, I'm going to be changing through some of these. Looking at different message boards, this is something that happens from time to time, right? In this particular case, this one was pretty funny where they were showing the gold eagle, and you can clearly tell that is not a gold eagle. That is just a very toned walker. And so, um, obviously they want to do this. Now, what's funny is reading the comments on some of this, and I'm not going to go through all of this, but the one guy goes, "I would keep it, just don't try to sell it as a gold eagle because now you're committing fraud." And it's a good fact, right? You can't sell the coin for what the label is, you have to sell the coin itself. And so if you happen to get something like this, again, don't misrepresent it. Don't perpetuate the mistake. That's very important for people to understand because you can be held liable for fraud or for scamming somebody. So be very careful with that. But if you do want to reconsider, they talk about different things you can reconsider. It's not the same as reconsidering for grade, but there are things that they can do. So it's important to understand when you're talking about reconsidering items, what that means. Again, it is not the same thing. But again, if you don't follow PCGS policies or NGC's policies, there are issues with postage, depending upon where you're sending it to. And then you have to look at how much it costs per the value of the coin for that grading fee. And so, again, it's very important that you understand what it is that you're looking at and understand the processes on how to get the item fixed. So now I'm back open, and then Jack Riley just sent me one because Jack Riley has wanted to share this one. This is another one that is incorrectly labeled. I didn't see, Jack, you'll have to put that in chat because I didn't see the specific of what this one was. But again, there's a lot of things that you need to pay attention to. But the bottom line up front in this particular one is number one, before you enter into any contract with anybody, and this is just good, smart business, okay? Understand the policies and the practices of that particular company. If you're going to be submitting something, know what they cover, know what they don't, know what their policies are in case of an accident or a mislabeled item or they put the wrong coin in something else. Make sure you understand what their processes and their policies
I
are.
think the process is different for this one, though.
Or which one?
This one may be a little bit different because it's misattributed. It's
Um,
not it's
again,
not labeled, it's misattributed.
so
Yeah,
again,
unfortunately, sometimes they will consider a misattribution just a mechanical error, and they'll get
yes,
into that.
Hopefully,
yeah.
right?
But
Absolutely.
this is
Yeah,
where you have to reach out to them
you
and have
do.
that conversation. Because here's the thing, if you just send this off, you are going to be paying fees.
Sometimes
Period,
It
end of
actually
story.
tells you do not
Yeah,
do any online submission. It says to call customer service, and it
yeah,
doesn't say
yeah,
text or anything. It says call.
yeah. I would always call.
yeah. So it's very important that you're monitoring and understanding what it is that the processes are. And again, folks, this is not financial advice or anything like that. This is just smart This is just smart business. This is just understanding the transaction requirements and what a company expects if you're going to be doing business with them. It's just smart business.
And
And
good
so
catch on this, Jack Riley. Good catch.
say that again.
I said, good catch on this, Jack Riley.
It's a really neat coin. Um, but again, I wanted to, and
They
number
do, Jack.
one, thank you so much to Vote for Pedro for
They do
um,
mess up, Jack.
donating this to the channel for educational purposes. I definitely appreciate you. And he's like, of course, he's always generous and very kind. Vote for Pedro's a stud. Um, but one of the things that's important to look at when you're doing this is, hey, I can chastise people for the videos and for people
I know.
complaining and doing stuff, but what good does that do? It doesn't really do any good. We're much better suited to have a discussion and help me give you information, or Jack or Paula or Eric or Mike or somebody else to give you information that points you in a direction where your resolution is going to get resolved versus complaining about the people who complain about it. And this recent event, and I'm not going to get political, folks, but this recent event with Charlie, uh, it was sad because he would. It's about the
That's not
discussion.
political.
It's about the discussion. Well, people can make it political.
Well,
Um, it's about the discussion and what we need to do. And this
human.
again, we talk about this all the time. You guys will hear me say this over and over and over again. I don't need you to agree with me. I just want to have the discussion. I need to know if I'm going to be better as a person, I need to understand your viewpoint. If I am going to make more informed decisions, I need to understand that I may have a flaw in my thinking. And the only way I'm going to know that is to hear multiple views, multiple aspects from multiple sources. When we're doing coin searches, right? Eric, you work with copper coins. Do you
That's right.
only use copper coins to verify your
No,
attributions?
I use all sorts of different
It would be
information.
dumb for you to only utilize one source
And
because
ultimately, I like to compare physical examples to one another.
right. And so you need to cultivate multiple options. You need to cultivate multiple resources. You need to have multiple discussions. And the more you do, the more informed you can be. And the unfortunate part about this is that's exactly what he allowed himself to do, is to sit down with people, whether you like him or not, whether you like this situation or not. He allowed himself to be put into a situation where you could have the discussion. And so again, I wanted to show you some videos about people who had complained about submissions and what was wrong, but there's no benefit to that. What's more benefit is walking through showing that there are processes by the TPGs for resubmission, how to get a hold of people should you want to do that, and what's expected of you as the submitter. And so I wanted to take just the first 20 to 30 minutes and kind of walk through that. We'll probably talk about this coin. I'm sure this isn't the last time that we'll see this particular coin. But again, I wanted to thank Vote for Pedro. There are a number of ways to support the channel. Whether you're watching uh, the channel for over on Facebook, you're watching Jack Young, whether you're looking at the dark side, or whether you're checking Fun with Fakes, if you're looking at live coin Q&A, copper coins, watch the videos, right? Yeah, you can send super chats, you can do memberships, all that stuff is nice, but watch the videos. I just turned ads back on. I know that frustrates some people. Unfortunately, I need my channel. I need my videos pushed out so people can see those. Um, Turning off all ads, even I get notifications from YouTube saying, "Hey, we noticed that you're not doing this. Why not? Why are you not engaging this? Is it viewer perception? Is it whatever?" Um, and so I've turned those back on. Watching 10, 15 seconds of an ad actually helps my channel. It helps support the channel. But what Pedro did is he went above and beyond to send something to me that can be used as a teaching tool. Folks, if you want to do something to support the channel, this is cool. You don't have to do it. I'm not asking you to guys send me stuff. That's not what I'm asking you for. But if you find something and you want to do it, that's awesome. Now, I also have something sitting here, and I'm going to flip this over. because another one of the people sent me this, and this is a fake 1914D. If you can see that, it's not very good. You can see that's a 14D, but it's not because there's a massive gap between the 9 and the 1. Somebody has altered this particular coin. And I reached out to the guy and I said, "Hey, I I really like that. I would love to have one of those. Do you have multiples?" And he's like, "No, but I will send it to you for the." And I told him I would buy it from him, knowing it's a counterfeit, knowing it's whatever, because it's a great
Altered.
altered. Yeah, it's a great coin. It's a great piece to teach and educate on. And so I really appreciate the folks that do this kind of stuff. I've had a couple people send me counterfeits. Ringmaster Ray sent me a bunch of counterfeit Indian cents, which I actually sent a couple to Jack Young. Um, really was able to attain a really nice SLQ that was sent for future and further study to Jack. So a lot of these things help the community. Yeah, I know, Mike. She corrects me all the time, and I love it. Hey, but it's good. We have
Altered,
to
not
speak.
fake.
We have to speak we have to speak the proper language. That does
I
matter.
know.
So
I
I don't mind being
Listen,
corrected.
I get this bubbling in my stomach, and I gotta say it.
He has the agility of a mongoose and the grace of a meerkat.
All the lingo. Luther knows. He's seen me on Facebook. I'm
Oh,
like
yeah.
that on Facebook too. I'm like, look, if you're gonna say it, you got to get it right because it can make all the difference.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things that
I'm a
you know,
stickler.
I appreciate your guys' support. I really do. And so again, Pedro, thank you so much. I didn't ask him to look for something like this. He reached out and said, "I saw something, immediately thought of you." He says, "This isn't going to you personally. This is for the channel." And so again, just thank you so much.
The
The
SL.
SLQ Jack went to Jack Young. This was before I knew you.
SL.
So, but what was that? Was it a 28?
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty neat piece.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have initially noticed some of the stuff because it's a pretty decent one.
Mhm.
But as it was kind of walking through, I was like, "Hey, this is what's going on with it." I was like, "Oh," and then I found out that Paula had
Mhm.
actually talked with him about it. Paula's the one that suggested I send it to you, and so that's
Mhm.
exactly where it ended up.
It's in good hands.
It is. In fact, I'm looking at it right now. I've got it right here on my. It's actually a 24D. I'm sorry. I've got
24D. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I
24D.
know,
It's
I
right in front of
remember.
me.
That was a while ago. That was
It has
Yeah.
been a while ago.
Hey, Frosty,
Yeah.
can we, if we could, I've got some more of those images that was kind of on target with what you were talking about with your 3 cent.
Okay. Let me
Mark
get
Riley wants to
to
see it. I want to see it. Send him pics. I probably still have pics of it too.
okay. That's the second one. That's the same
That's the
coin.
second one. So this is that first coin I showed, the 1912, and this is actually the original cert. So it actually said it was a 1912 1C G4 Brown in the NGC certification. Back to what you were talking about. What would you do if you had one of these? And
And
you
it's
said,
worth $1.25. Is that what it says on the price?
well, yeah, if it was, yeah, Lincoln
I didn't even catch
1912
that, Paula.
as a big four, absolutely, that's all it's worth. Um, but one of the things you can do, and I
That's
did, even
funny.
though I intended to keep this coin, was I did notify my contact at NGC, and you could do it also by contacting customer service as Frosty showed. And I notified them that this was an error, that this was a problem, and it was a problem with their current cert, just so this didn't
Yes.
just linger out there. So the next image actually is what they did after I notified them. And so they came in now and actually said it was a mechanical error. Now it has no value, Paula, or no picture.
Nice.
But, but again, if you would go in and look at it, obviously I still have the coin. It's sitting in front of me as well. But I did go in and give them the opportunity to at least update their cert and make it right as far as what you would see on their online certification.
Well, I got to tell you though,
That
there's
changes their pop too, right?
there yeah, there's a lot
Their
of
$1.25 pop, yeah.
there's a lot of value, and I don't know if you've recognized this. There's a lot of value in this particular image because how much does it cost to grade a slab?
Well, that is not something you will see very often, if at all,
Yeah,
on the price guide.
yeah,
So,
and so
I mean, there are some people that send some silly stuff in and everything else, but that's hysterical.
but this is a good visual representation of a coin you probably shouldn't send in for grading. Because it's a total loss of money. This
That is
just doesn't
really
make
funny.
sense. And well, I didn't even notice it at first. I wasn't even paying attention to the price. I was looking at the label and reading the other stuff. Um, so that was the question that I was going to ask, and I'm really glad you brought this particular thing up. So the question uh, is it
Right.
numismatic courtesy? Kind of like when you go to play darts, there's a code that's unspoken. When you're going to throw darts, you go stand up next to the person who's already throwing and do that. There's a professional courtesy. When you're bowling, you don't go up and you don't bowl next to the person who's standing up getting ready to throw their ball on the approach. For numismatic courtesy, it's probably best to contact the TPG and say, "Hey, we have an issue here."
Yeah. Unless it's an error coin and they've screwed up. They don't like to hear they don't like to hear it.
So, what are your thoughts on that, Jack?
Eh,
What are the reasons why somebody would want to do that?
Well, it's the reason I did it. I see it as professional courtesy as
it
well.
is.
And
Yep.
and and the other thing is, if anybody else is looking for that certain number, they can see exactly what it is. I mean, maybe at some point I'm going to gift this coin to somebody, and you
Mhm.
can go in and look and see that yes, they access that as actually a mechanical error. So, but I do it beyond this. If you look at the next image that I got, so this gets into one that Paula talked about. This is a misattribution. Okay, this was misattributed. An S144 1798 large cent is a very scarce, actually rare variety. This is not one of those, and this was actually missed. They're not copper experts, and it's actually a much less rare variety than that. And I don't have the image of what happened with the cert, but I went in and notified them of this one as well, and they ended up making an adjustment on the cert also, saying, but they wanted to call this a mechanical error as well,
Mm.
and in my case, it was a misattribution. So it's probably a matter of whether whoever originally sent that coin in asked for the variety to
Bad
be
variety, yep.
exactly,
And they
or
just
if
went
they
with
were
it.
just offering that because somebody there thought they knew what it was. So I don't know. This one was on eBay, and the gentleman, I explained it to him, and I ended up getting it for very little. And I know it's one that NGC would actually like to just have back because, again, it's an error that they made in one of their holders. Then, of course, you can take it one more level, and I have images. In fact, the image that I used for me, the little 1806 half cent, that one's counterfeit, and that one's in their holder, and that's probably one of the worst mechanical errors you could make or misattribution because yeah, it's notified, that it's actually a genuine coin and it's not. And I did notify them of that as well. Again, you can say as professional courtesy, but they've gone in and actually noted on their online cert that that coin is counterfeit.
Yeah, they are not as perfect as some would believe. And it actually causes a problem with us as educators sometimes when we're trying to teach people stuff, because oftentimes we will hear, well, you're not a grader. You don't work for the grading company. Are you trying to tell me that they messed up? Are you, well, yeah, I am.
Yeah, I tell a story that, one of the first coin shows I went to where I took some of these counterfeits and genuine slabs, and I had one in another TPG holder. And some of the people that came up, I showed them the coin. The coin's an excellent coin, of course. It's one of the very deceptive struck coins.
Mhm.
And it's in a holder that said it's genuine. And when I would show it to people, they would say, well, you're wrong. PCGS said it's genuine. And it's like,
So it
well,
must be, right? Yeah.
let me explain why it's not. So, yeah, I mean, there are so many people trust the holders, and that's part of the issue right now with all the counterfeits we're seeing. And Frosty and I talk about these, but the ones in the fake holders, and people are buying those because they just don't know any better.
So
And
here's
it
go
could be
ahead,
really
Paula.
simple stuff. I'm sorry. It could be really simple stuff too, you guys. So just as an example, just like in the last couple weeks, Wendy has a nickel, and this is not, a mislabeled thing or anything, but it's an example of how they screw up sometimes. Wendy has a nickel that is improperly annealed. Now, if you ever send an improperly annealed nickel to Annex, 99% of the time, you will get it back as an improper alloy mix. And you'll get a color designation too on a nickel. But Annex, for whatever reason, has a bug up their butt about improperly annealed nickels. The only ones they will label as improperly annealed are the 58 and the 59 Black Beauties. And it drives me absolutely bonkers. I would love for her to send that off, because it's a beautiful example of an improperly annealed nickel. I don't want her to spend a ton of money sending it to NGC or PCGS, but if she sends it to Annex, she is most likely going to get it back improperly labeled. So that's just one example. So if you guys ever have a coin and you're pretty sure what it is, and you get it back, don't be afraid to challenge them. Have people look at it and stuff like that, but don't be afraid to challenge them.
Well, and one thing that excuse me, one thing that I learned, and I don't send very many coins in. I think I've sent 5
58s and
coins total.
59s, Luther.
Um, One thing that I always do is it's like I have this coin, this is what's going on. I explain the coin, explain the holder, explain what's going on. I always call the TPG ahead of time. Now, there's a lot of people who send massive amounts of coins and they don't have the time to do that, or they're very familiar with the process and you don't have to do that. But there is nothing to say you can't call the TPG and say, hey, I'm confused about this. Help me understand. This is what it is according to what we've looked at, verified, validated, whatnot. We got this information and work with the TPG. Again, the person who's doing this, Jack just said just a moment ago, they're not copper experts. These people are looking at the grade. They may not understand the minutia of something. Have that conversation with them. Bring people in who do understand that. And then again, the worst they can say is no, right? But people tend to complain about something before they even make the attempt
Yeah.
to identify and discuss the situation. They're companies just like everybody else. Mistakes are going to happen from time to time. But I'm going to tell you that the amount of coins that they grade,
One, I think.
they probably have a very good error percentage. I'm sure it's very small. And we see these. Obviously,
They do, but that is one that, and I have talked to them about it, and that is one that they, for whatever reason, they get it, they get it wrong. And those are two completely different errors. They're completely different. I have one somewhere. I know I
So
do.
when there's a massive disagreement between that, what are your options? What do you do?
Well, sometimes you just have to let it go because oftentimes they will dig their feet in the ground. If you can contact, like if you have an error coin that PCGS is usually really good about it. If you can prove to them that they're that they're not correct. But you need to contact them first. Call them. Copper coin guarantee expires in 10 years. Yeah, copper does. Yeah, that the grade doesn't.
And again, there are other things about sending things in for regrading. The whole point to this was, mistakes happen. We understand that. Not a big deal. We all make them. We're all human. We're all fallible. None of us are infallible. Doesn't matter how smart we are, how educated we are. People make mistakes. And when we look at this, one thing that is important to understand is know the details. Understand the policies and the processes, whatever you're dealing with. And folks, it doesn't matter if you are going to deal with Harlan J. Burke or if you're going to go deal with somebody, for instance, let's say that EMR is going to sell me a coin. We've got to discuss what the processes are, what's going to happen, and what we're going to expect, and how things are going to work. And we need to have those discussions. Have a full understanding of what is happening before you dig into that. And when you're done, understand that maybe you totally misunderstood. Sometimes it's submitter error, not necessarily the TPG. And I had to find that out my very first submission. I was wondering why it took so long from PCGS, only to find out that I had checked the wrong box and was looking at stuff. They were trying to figure out what it is. They had sent me an email. I never saw the email. I was really down on PCGS for quite some time. And then come to find out it was all me, right? So do your due diligence, understand what's going on, and make sure that you have a good understanding of what the processes are prior to getting engaged in something. Tonight on Coin Grade Battles, we have Paula in the red trunks, NGC in the blue trunks. Get your popcorn, people. It's going to be epic.
It wouldn't be a competition on grading because Paula's grading is not the best.
Well, and that goes to another question. And this is something I might need to get. I have to check with Adam or somebody. I want to do something on grading. Grading is an art form. It's very difficult to do. And a lot of people are like, well, my coin looks like it's a 63. It's like, well, what is it? It's a Morgan. Well, what year? Well, why does that matter? Oh, it matters a lot. Right? Because different years have different strikes. And sometimes the strikes were really good with some years. Like, it's not hard to find a 66 1921. It may be really hard to find an MS 66, 1892 S or something like that, right? So, depending upon the strike, values differ, right? We talk about rarities. Mintage might not be the rarity; it might be the conditional rarity, because you have certain ones that are strikes. I always use the 26S penny as a great example. In MS66, it's more than the 1909's VDB. So again, understand conditional rarities and stuff like that. But grading is one of those things that I really would like to learn more about it.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I'm okay until you get up to 66, and then.
Yeah, Luther, that's absolutely right. Details do matter. Absolutely. Were you going to say something, Eric?
I'm good enough that I don't get myself in trouble, but.
And Jack Riley's like the nasty mint marks. This guy loves the mint marks. He's just joking around, especially the micro O's. So what else you got for us, Jack?
That was really it. That's all.
Jack's going to be in Indiana, right?
He is.
Yes. He's going to have his own little table.
So what kind of stuff you taking to Indiana, Jack?
I'm going to actually have an entire dark side table, so it's going to be spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Matt has set me up with a table, and I've done exhibits. In fact, there's a video Matt actually videotaped when I was in Indy for EAC a couple years ago, and my table. We went through and discussed a lot of things I have there, but it's just going to be a really nice selection of things that you don't see very often, I guess.
That's an interesting question. Pedro says, how many graders does an NGC company or a company like NGC employ?
A lot.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'd have no idea.
The parking lot is full when you go there, so there's a lot of people working there. They do
you know
more
what?
than coins.
According to NGC, due to do our grading, NGC employs more than 30 full-time coin graders as well as outside consultants. We do this to ensure partiality. NGC and its full-time graders do not buy and sell coins commercially. We have strict in place to prevent that, partially from influencing the grades or assignments of their own submission. The combined expert at NGC grading team is unparalleled in accuracy and consistency. I love that statement today. So they say more than 30. That's what their answer is. So yeah, and when you talk about the millions of coins that pass through there every year, Eric has talked about this a number of times. They have just a few seconds to look at each coin. And
Yeah,
so
in the facility, they do comic books, baseball cards, and currency. So they're
What?
grading other stuff too. And it's quite an impressive operation when you drive through the gate. Because I go and pick stuff up occasionally, pick orders up.
Well, do they only have one facility?
I think they might have an overseas facility.
Well, so they have. I just got into this with somebody. I just looked this up for the UK, and
That's what I say. I think they got one in London.
it's called.
they have a number of ones. They have them in China, Germany, Hong Kong,
CCP
United
or
Emirates.
something,
But U.S. coins go to Sarasota.
but they still send the coins back to the U.S. They have a submission place, but I believe that they still send the coins to the U.S.
No yaks now. They're not coin graders. Are not grading baseball cards, but they're in the same building. It's like an office, little office complex, and it's like a compound. It's quite secure. Guards everywhere, gates everywhere. You can't go in the building when you pick up an order. You pull in. They get your paperwork from you. They bring the order out in a cart to your car and drop it off.
That's my dream job, Mike, to make money telling people that it's not what they think it is.
The crusher.
You're right. You're not wrong, Mike.
It's terrible.
I mean, human nature is mine is better than yours, so everybody thinks their coin is higher grade than it is.
This is my coffee cup for today.
I do good. Now, older coins are much more difficult. And again, specialty
That
years.
goes into the knowledge, Frosty.
Yeah.
Certain years just aren't a high quality. In the grading companies know that, so they have different standards for different dates and different coins.
Yeah, I have looked at, there was a couple of them, and I don't remember who. I want to say it was Blue Ridge and Adam and somebody else. And there was a competition between.
No, it was Sean and the guy from Storage Hunt, not Storage, Renee from.
Oh, from Storage Wars.
Yeah, from Storage Wars, and then Couch and oh gosh, who was Couch's partner? I can't remember, but Sean beat the pants off him.
Yeah, they showed one coin, and they're like, "What is the grade of this coin?" And I'm like, "It looks like it's probably XF, but if they're asking the question, it's probably higher than it is." And so I'm like, "What is it about it?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to say it's AU details," and it ended up being something like a 62. And it's like, why in the world is it 62? And it's like, well, they're phenomenally rare to have good strikes.
The proof world coin?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, how in
That
the
was
world
a
is
tough
that
one.
60s? It was a very difficult thing to do, and it's like you have to understand that they just were not struck very well. Paul, you're showing something, and I don't have you up. Hold on, show that
Oh,
again.
no, it's okay. It's just the from the competition.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's all.
That's cool. I didn't know you picked one up from Sean.
I have all of them.
I need to. He said he would come up and do some stuff on grading. I just have not been able to connect with him. He's been so busy. I'll have to get Adam's good at grading too. I'll need to get Chuck and Adam. They did one on copper coins where they sat down and they were going through some stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
Let me
To
tell
kind
you
of
the
watch
trick
through.
to grading, to learning how to grade. Grade a lot of coins.
That and know the coins.
Look at a lot of graded coins.
Yep.
If you're doing Lincoln cents, know everything you can possibly know about what a Lincoln cent looks at, where the high points are, where the field, where, and also
which years are struck.
Yeah, what years are struck good.
Yep.
Here's another tip: when the field that the bust and the coin is looking at means more than the field behind the head. I never believed it, but it's true. We actually are kind of doing a thing about a grading submission about that.
Right where your eye goes.
John Hanna just gifted 5 memberships. Scotty Quaddy, Fat Baxter, Flying Dutchman, SW, and Dove Season. Please make sure you let John Hanna know. Thanks, John. I appreciate the support, brother.
Your eye goes to where they're looking at.
Thanks, David, for putting that in there. Yeah, so again, grading is an art, right? And it's one of those things.
Jack is an art.
Jack, are you good at grading coins?
I'm not.
I am decent at early copper, and part of that is I have a crib sheet that helps me with that.
And you do a lot of early copper. That's my point is.
I do.
Don't just get like a mercury dime and say, this is a great mercury dime and send it in for grading. If it's the first mercury dime you ever going to send in.
That's exactly right. And to your point earlier, early copper, there's so many different die varieties, and they have nuances between each one, and some are weakly struck and some are, off-centered somewhat. And so you actually have to look at every variety and take that into effect when you actually do the grading. I mean, I've seen coins that are early copper that's almost AU, and the details are really weak and mushy because that's how that die was.
So Jack is talking about EAC grading. You want to talk about that?
Not really.
Mike's got a great point too.
That's a valid point too.
What's
Mike's
point?
A great point. Mike said the reverse of a coin cannot help the grade. It can only hurt if it's bad. Yep.
Yeah.
And that goes to the field behind the head. Like I said, that field where the coin is, the bust is looking, is the most important spot in the fields.
And why is it? Just because it stands out? I know that, like, if there's something right,
I think it's human nature. You want to look where Lincoln's looking, or you want to look where Roosevelt's looking, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's usually a big blank area too.
That too.
Yeah. And it does make sense. I mean, if Lincoln's staring at a dot.
Right. You see the dot.
You see the dot. That does make sense. So what is EAC? Now I've got to ask the question.
Early American coppers.
Early American coppers.
Okay.
And, when you talked about EAC grading, that is one of the most controversial things probably for people that don't collect early copper that there actually is. And EAC has come up with a method, and actually Annex was probably one of the first to actually grab onto it and actually use it as well, because they will go in and they will grade a coin initially by the level details of that example. So if it looks like a VG or it looks like a fine, they will start with that grade. And then they will start to deduct points based on any damage associated with that coin. And so they'll come up with basically a details grade and a net grade. And so that becomes very controversial for a lot of people trying to understand those nuances and how much do you deduct from a grade because of whatever it might be. And it might be a rim ding, it might be a scratch, it may be smooth. There are a number of things that will affect the final grade for EAC grading. And Annex, many years ago, I've always considered Annex really good in grading early copper. They did a really good job. I believe they still do. And they were one of the first ones that would net grade a coin. And they would do it just like that. They would give you a details grade and they give you a net grade. And then some of the other TPGs started doing the same thing, and they get into basically details and whether it's genuine or not.
And AKA the reason Jack said no, he doesn't want to talk about EAC grading.
That was the reason.
Yeah, I got you. Flag City says pre-1800 early copper will drive you insane, especially trying to figure out what Sheldon number you.
That's actually easier. The Sheldon numbers are easier than the net grades.
Well, and so again, talking about various grading, you're talking about early American copper, another one that's complicated. And we learned about this when Aaron Burke was online. And that was that when you're looking at ancients, there's also another facet that you don't see in normal coinage, which is the designability of the coin. What are the design elements? How nice is that design quality? And so it's very important when you're looking at coins to understand that there are very specific things to look at in each genre. The age of the coin, the strike you're going to be looking at, did they create new dies for that particular run and did they use one from the previous year? Because there's some of those where they used the reverses of those dies until they basically fell apart. So you're going to have some series of cents. Eric, if you can give me an example of one where, in a same year, you have a really good, maybe the 22 no D weak strike versus strong strike and stuff like that, where they changed the die on the reverse. All of a sudden, now you have a good one. Now you have one that's
All
kind of
through the
old. Or
early 20s. That's the problem with the 26S is they used the reverse until they were basically shattered.
yeah,
So finding one with a nice, good, strong, good eye appeal reverse, that's what keeps them from grading high.
yeah, and so understanding when those things happen. Um, and Paula's talked about this a number of times. Paula is the resident variety person. And so one thing about looking at that is, again, knowing the grading and understanding that's fine, but don't use, um, don't look for die markers until you found the variety, right? That's another thing that kind of goes with that. And that's just like with trying to grade Morgan dollars or something like that. Not all Morgans grade exactly the same. You're not going to get a 2-cent piece that grades on the same scale as a Morgan dollar. So make sure you understand the coin. It's very important you do that. Ernest Edward, what's going on? Good to see you, bud. Thanks for coming in. Um, yeah, and so there's so many three-legged buffalo nickel. Yeah, there's so many different things to look at and consider. Again, look at a lot of the uh you just send me something?
I did. It's an update to something we talked about earlier.
I just got a message and I was like, I don't see anything. Oh, there it is. Okay. But yeah, but grading is one of those things. It's very difficult. It is an art form, and so you need to really understand what you're looking at. And that goes back to the adage that you've heard, Mike on Coin Show podcast, Mike and Matt. You've heard a number of different people say, and this is buy the book before the coin. Make sure you really understand the design element. If you're going to be looking for varieties or errors, understand the variety, understand the items that are on the coin, understand the devices, understand what's um, understand what variety you're looking for. Have a good basis for what it is that you're looking at. I did a coin search on Friday night, and we found 10 out of the roll that had either delaminations or there was one DDR, there was one DDO, and then the rest were repunch mint marks. I couldn't find the items during the stream because it's very complicated. I don't know 1959D. I don't know all the varieties. Um, I knew what to look for. I went ahead of time and kind of looked at, you know, what is the thickening in the serif area? What kind of things am I looking at? And I was able to find some of those things and looked at the FG beforehand, kind of understood what the one double die reverse looked like, got familiar with that one before I started looking at the coin. So I knew exactly the 2 or 3 areas to look at. So I familiarized myself prior to opening the roll and looking at it. Doing that kind of pre-work will really set you up for success. But I'm not getting rid of the roll. I'm not going to throw it in my change. I put it back into the roll holder. And after I learn a little bit more about the 59D, or maybe Eric and I will get on a stream one day and I'll say, hey, here's some coins that I looked at once before. Let's go through them and see what I missed. He may see stuff that I didn't see. He may help me correct my lighting on my scope. And all of a sudden now I see things I didn't see before. And so it's all about do practice, time, repeated efforts, engaging with people in the community. Again, learn from a bunch of different people and have ideas of what's going on. And then obviously, you don't have to come just to my channel. I appreciate you all being here, but there's a plethora of people in chat and on the panel who are extremely knowledgeable. Cultivate multiple sources of information. I appreciate that you come and that you subscribe to my channel, but have people in your back pocket. If you can't find them, come to me and I'll help connect you to these other people, because there are people out here who really want to grow the hobby. There are people out here who really want to grow you as a collector and stop all that mis and disinformation that you see from some of these people. Like,
Mm.
oh, I won't say Coin Channel Tube or anything like that. I won't point out anybody specifically, like how I did that. But again, it's important that they're about views. They don't really care. Um, they use different pieces of information or use AI. Now, again, the utilization of AI in helping you build a video is not a problem. But having UI build your video, having UI build your information without you having an understanding of whether or not AI is correct, that is the problem.
Can I make a suggestion?
Fire away.
If
What if
you
I
are
said
at
no? You would do it
if
anyway.
you I would do it anyway. If you are at all interested in errors and varieties, you really are wasting your time if you don't start off with training wheels. Start off in the beginning. Learn how dies are made. Learn the minting process. I will harp on that until my last breath, because I see people searching and they have no clue what they're even looking for. And then they will find something as they're searching that looks odd to them, and they will spend hours or days or weeks or months on this one coin that is simply a damaged coin, because they don't have that foundation. You have to have that foundation, at least a simple understanding. And there are resources out there. So the American Numismatic Association has a great YouTube channel. If you're not utilizing that, you're missing out, because they have a learning academy on there and they have all kinds of videos about pretty much anything. They have a few great videos on the modern minting process. Start out with that. If you go to John Wexler's doubledie.com, on the left-hand side of his page, there's how dies are made. There's information on RPMs. There's information on double dies that take you from the beginning to how they occur. Use that stuff. Read it. Study it before you even open a roll of coins. And suggest that to other people too. Anyway, that's my thing. And if you want to know about errors, learn the modern minting process, because you have to know what's normal before you can know what's not normal. That's all I got to say about that.
So Eric just said that the Newman Numismatic Portal is another
It
great
is
resource. It
a
is.
great place,
I
but
have
and it also has many of the YouTube videos from the ANA. It has some of the Coin Show podcast videos on there. Yeah, so
how'd they get on there? I mean, yeah, they're a good channel. They should be
they
on there.
paid, they bought their way in there.
Mike's like, look, Frosty.
Allegedly. 'Cause they're
Me
great.
says when your head hurts from too much information, blame Frosty.
Yeah.
Well, and again, even my
You're
wife
gonna
says
be
she has
so
to
much
take me in
more
small doses.
successful. You're gonna be so much more successful, and you're gonna have such a better time, and you're gonna increase your chances of actually finding something by 100% if you just put a little bit of work in. Just a little bit of work.
And again, with any hobby, it doesn't matter if it's coin collecting, it doesn't matter if it is
Thank
um,
you.
uh, stamps or gemstones, or if it's metal detecting or whatever it is, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And if you take time to learn and you think you got a good handle on it, try teaching the topic. But teach the
Yeah.
topic to somebody who knows it, right? And just say, hey, I want to take a minute. Paula, and I told Paula one time, and she's like, excuse me. And I was like, no, 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 no. Understand why I say this. I expect certain things of Paula, not that you're going to do this. I just expect things of her. I expect her to be honest with me. I expect her to, not because you're going to check my stuff. You're going to look at it. You're going to tell me whether it's wrong. Not in that way. Paula is very open and honest about how she looks and how she stands on certain things, and I expect that of her. It's part of our friendship. I know that there are sometimes she's going to say things that are like, that's wrong. And I have to go back, verify, look at it, and go, oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, my bad. Gotcha. Right. But here's the thing. Paula has told me, and we've gone through this a couple times. That's not correct. Actually, it is. No, it's not. Let me show you. Oh my God, you're right. That's interesting. Never realized that. And Paula has actually changed her stance on something. One thing we were talking about is the penny planchet, right? And calling it uh laminate. Was it no? No. What do they call that?
I don't know.
Laminated, laminated planchet. I can't remember what the conversation was. Anyway, we were talking about it. She's like, "That's not right." And I showed her, hey, it's like, here's where I got the information. And she's like, "Oh, well, it came from the mint. It's accurate information. It's exactly what they call it." If you give Paula the information, she will change her tune. But Paula's adamant about it. She knows her stuff. She is very solid and sincere about it. But as somebody who wants to grow and give good, solid information, if I think I understand it, I'm going to try and teach it to somebody who knows it so that they can say, you're close. And when you do that, if you have the patience to allow somebody to come at you and say, nice effort,
Delamination.
but you're wrong. Yeah, delamination's another good one.
Yeah.
Lamination, delamination, right? Understanding the terminology, there's going to be discrepancies there.
It's in the floor.
But what's important there is, and I always go back to this one item, and I was teaching Paula my understanding of what, and it came with the doubled EC. Remember that one? It was the incused doubling.
Incused.
Yep. And I walked her through everything, and we put the video out there, and I was like, hey, what do you got? She's like, you gave all the right information. Unfortunately, because you
Backwards.
don't understand this concept, you had it backwards. And
Go
so
for it.
we got on a telephone call, and I walked her through what I understood. She's, everything you're saying is correct. But do you understand what incuse is? And I was like, well, that kind of, she's like, explain that to me. So I started looking at things, and I'm like, oh, it's like a wave. The crest, the trough, the
That's
crest
true.
is the up, it's the raised portion, it's the device, like Lincoln. Incuse is where it goes inside the coin. That's kind of the lettering on the quarters. And she goes, okay, so that goes inside the coin. If you were to draw a line over it, what would happen? I'm like, oh, it would appear like it's underneath, even though it's on top. The scratch. Oh, I get it. And boom. Now I'll never ever forget that. Why? Because one, was trying to teach it and I was learning stuff as I went. And then it started to say, hey, do you get this concept? Are you understanding with this? When that stuff happens, it turns into something called crystallized intelligence. And that is you understand the what, the why, and the how that works. And now you can begin to understand why that thing is there and what had to happen in order for that to be there and what that looks like and why it looks that way. And then you can properly teach and educate and get that information. Paul is really good, especially with me and others, but with me, to say, hey, that's not right. You got that kind of wrong. And so you need people like that in your life.
Are you guys as tired of hearing about me as I am?
Well,
Nope.
it's not just you, but so here's something else that you guys need to understand. Paula, Amanda, there are some
excuses for me being an ass.
there are some Mike, I can never for the life of me remember Erin's sister's name. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. Her last name always
Hey, bro.
always drives me nuts. Anyway, the premise for this is I want to reiterate something about the knowledge of some of the ladies in our community. We have some extremely knowledgeable women in our community. And the problem with that is a lot of people are not, they don't take her for what it is.
Will not be struck through grease.
You guys like my channel, but a lot of the information that I learned from was Paula. A lot of the information about varieties and errors and understanding the minting process came from live coin Q&A. A lot of my issues and understanding of
that is not true. Your knowledge came from getting the resource to look up the information yourself.
Well, but you guys have those resources. Yeah, but you guys have the resources. And again, here's the thing, folk. I don't need to get all the acclamation. I like somebody saying thank you. That's kind of my thing. I appreciate that. Jack, thanks for coming in.
Oh, bud. Hi, Jack.
See you, Jack.
Don't leave, the plants will die.
Don't leave, the plants will die? What the hell was that about?
That's what Ken Peavy used to say to me all the time. Don't leave, the plants will die.
I've never heard that phrase before. That's
kind of weird, know what it meant.
But it's not. I'm not blowing smoke up Paula's butt. I'm not trying to do any of that kind of stuff. But what's important is, so like from different people, from Chuck, right? You listen to Chuck. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's going to tell you exactly what's going on. You need people like that in your life. There are a few people who understand the Lincoln scent like Chuck does, right? And Eric and I have talked about lighting with scopes and settings and computers and what happens. And we've broke down things to look at. We talk about all various manners of coins. There are very few people that I have learned more about counterfeits from than Jack Riley and Jack Young.
Yeah.
And so you need to surround yourself with good people. I don't have a problem if you come to my channel just to listen to everybody else. I really don't. What's important to me is that you get the right information. That's what matters here. And so again, all of today's discussion was understand the process. There are things to do. Make sure you know what's going on with that. And again, just making sure that you guys have a fun place to come and hang out and visit and learn. I mean, learn good information. And then, of course, I support everybody's channel.
Have fun. Just have fun too. Have fun. Whatever you decide to do, have fun doing it.
I got to point out something, and Luther said something, and I got to tell you, it's one of the nicest compliments I've received.
Luther's a good guy.
In a long time.
But it's not struck through grease, Luther.
Sorry.
He says that I'm only one of the few channels that he'll watch primarily is on Facebook.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me. It really does.
We troll each other, him and I.
But again, I'm surrounded by a wonderful group of people, both on panel and in chat. And it's you, folks out there, that make this fun. I like to research stuff. Paul is absolutely right. I don't mind going in and digging up resources and finding out about stories. Mike Nodelman and I are kindred spirits in dad jokes and story time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's told me, he's like, you know, you're really good at doing this. You need to do more of that. And I have taken his advice. Looking at certain things, right? I have quit telling people off the cuff what is going on because Paula has been like, hey, make sure you really know what's going on. Send me pictures if you need to verify and validate. Let's review that. But it's when you surround yourself with solid people, and this is biblical, folks, and you don't have to. I probably lost people right now saying,
doesn't matter.
Iron sharpens iron. You need people in life that will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think I've done a pretty good job surrounding myself with pretty solid. Again, my success is their success, so I appreciate everybody that support. Really do.
You want to talk about your faith on your channel? Talk about your faith on your channel.
I do.
Okay.
Ant, I have a random question. How much premium would there be on a 1951 1 cent proof FS 101 in 66 brown with decent toning? The glamour shot is green and pink. I will defer to Eric.
Well,
1951 proof FS 101.
I don't know if there'd be any premium over just. Is he talking a premium over a nice bright proof 67 FS 101?
Well, that would be my guess.
It is easy to look that up, though. Go to PCGS Coin Facts, look up a 1951 1 cent proof without the variety in PR 66 brown, and then look up the variety in the same grade.
That's true. That is
and
true.
Then you can add, you know, eye appeal is going to be whoever wants to buy it. So you can't.
If it gets a star or not.
Well, or if somebody just wants to pay extra because they fall in love with the coin, people will pay a premium, but you can't add that. You have to be technical about it and then just go by evidence, like prior sales or whatever, and then
I know that we have found a couple of them at shows.
You know what I'm saying, though, when it comes to toning, like all of that is eye appeal. All of that is how much people will pay because they love the coin. But you can get a pretty good base by looking at the price guide for the non-variety and then compare it to the price guide with the variety. That's what I would do.
Let's see here. 50 proof. Let me
51.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the proofs right now.
51 proof.
So Flag City, real quick, while you guys are looking at that.
I think we sold an MS66 for $1,500 on Great Collections.
There are no brown designations. Red,
again,
brown.
Real quick, Flag City said he just looked at the location for the Indiana State show. He wanted to give Matt a huge high five for scoring the location.
Red, brown.
Yeah, huge on security. He's done a great job with that.
So proof 66 in red, brown is 125. Proof 66 in red, brown is 125. Then we'll look at the variety. They don't have the variety in brown, but they have it in red. So that's going to change the. So who graded that, Ant? Is that NDC? $250. So it's about $100 difference.
And to the right buyer, it might fetch more, right? And again, it's all about.
That's right. You get somebody who's a toner lover.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Morning, Neil. How are you, bud?
One is selling, but it's going for close to the numbers of what she is saying.
That's about right.
Unattributed.
And here's the thing, Aunt. There's two different proof double dice for 51p. Chances are,
Eric.
yeah, that's what I mean. Proof. Chances are in 1951, there's already two die pairs known that have double dies. There's a significant amount of double dies in the whole population of 51Ps. It's not something that, I mean, it's probably not something that people look for. But I know that I've been to the fun show 3 years with Chuck, and Chuck, I think, has found 4 of them. So they're out there.
What it looks like it's mostly on rust.
Yeah, vote for Pedro. It's amazing what some of the prices of these coins can be. Again, it's important to understand what you have, but I mean, you look at some of the teens, the estimate marks in the teens, and some of those go for a lot of money. But again, when you're talking about that, it goes to not necessarily just the mintage, but those conditional rarities. That's a really big deal when you're looking at some of the older wheats.
And I'll let you know that on PCGS, Proof 66 with that variety has the highest pop.
And Jack just sent me something and said that NGC coin we talked about earlier, they did call that a mechanical error for the misattribution. He's just following up and letting me know that is what they called that.
And it looks like it is.
And they did the same with the one that Jack Young showed. They called that a mechanical error too, and it wasn't. It was misattributed.
Yeah, no matter what grade it is from the one I'm looking at right now, Paula, it seems to almost double with the variety.
Well,
even from brown. There are some on brown. There's a listing for brown here on PCGS, just not 66.
Where?
3360. And it's 38,144 is the actual subline, but they only go to 65 and it's $100. And 65 brown is 55 in a straight coin.
Okay, well, I'm not finding it.
Well, let me give you guys a little bit of advice when you're looking at the PCGS price guides and stuff like that.
I don't know where you're finding that.
I'm on the PCGS website, price detail, Lincoln cent wheat reverse proofs.
So when you're looking at this kind of stuff, folks, make sure you throw out the high and the low, and you take the median price as your basis.
The PCGS price is high.
Yeah, the one thing about this is they also take eBay sell listings, and somebody might have picked up something and spent way more money than they were because they weren't knowledgeable about it. So if you really want to get a fair, decent price, look at that. Look at the range that's there. Take the mode or the median, that kind of middle ground, and that'll give you kind of a really good insight as to a better approximation of what that's worth. Now it's going to go up or down. You can't take that as a full detail, but again, it's just important. Frosty is directed by Julie Bass and Arthur Rankin Jr.
You do one label and make it correct. It is not a misattribution. It is a mechanical error.
Yep.
No, Mike, not if you can change one letter on the attribution and it changes the attribution, right? Does that make sense? So say you have a snow 12 and it's actually a snow 13, you change one number and it changes the attribution.
But it's still a mechanical error is what he's saying.
No, it's a misattribution.
But that's where Jack just said, even though the misattribution was still classified as a mechanical error. So that was from Jack Young. Yeah.
No, Jack Young said
Jack Young just sent me something on Facebook that says NGC called the misattribution a mechanical error.
Right. And it wasn't a mechanical error. It was a misattribution.
Right. But what Mike is saying is that's what they will classify.
Yeah, they dump everything into the same pool.
Right. Okay, I see. Yeah.
We're saying the same thing, just different ways.
Right,
Yeah.
just yeah.
That's exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
saying
good.
that it's not a mechanical error, it's actually a misattribution, but
That's
there's 2
correct.
different things. You
Yeah.
can have a mechanical error and you can have a misattribution. They're not the same thing.
Yeah. Now, if they spelt something wrong, then it wouldn't be a mechanical error. It would be a label error.
Which
Is-
they consider a mechanical error.
No, there's actually 2 different styles. If it's like the one that I have here, this is a label error. The 1863 3-cent silver that's a label error. It's
And they
not. It
call
doesn't
that a
fall under the
mechanical
mechanical.
error.
It falls under the mechanical
Right.
precedent, but it's actually called a label error.
Would
Yeah.
die state letter missing be mechanical?
They usually don't put die state.
No, they never do.
I've only done that twice.
They'll put
And
state
one
sometimes
time
in.
was extremely painful. There are adjustments that need to be made prior to writing a mechanical bull.
Not for me.
Neil, gold and silver walk into a bar. The bartender shouts, "Hey, you, get out of here." Gold leaves, but silver stays.
Mongo.
AG, I guess I'll take a drink. Nice.
Die stage.
Yeah.
Lettering meaning A, B, C, etc. And die, it's die stage.
Yeah, die stage.
And I don't think that NGC or PCGS will even put die stage, but I do think that ANAX sometimes puts die stage
I just know I've seen die stage on
on ANAX.
something somewhere.
Yeah.
Something somewhere. I don't
Hey,
know.
Paul, I got a question for you. Actually, I got one. This is Mike, as Mike is still here. A
Mike.
bee flies into a sushi bar.
Uh-oh.
How is it greeted?
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Wasabi.
Wasabi. Oh my god, you guys.
Oh, come on. The dad jokes are just rolling. Come on, that deserves something. At least a chuckle or.
I was
I
laughing.
did. I chuckled.
I was laughing on the inside.
I was crying on the outside.
I was crying on the outside. That's funny. All right, folks. Well, hey, it is about that time. Rated cheesy. That's nice.
I'll pray for all of you.
So let me say again, Jack, thanks. I know Jack is gone, but thanks to Jack Young for popping in and saying hi. He's always good to send me a message on Saturday saying, "What are we talking about? Need any photos or images?" So I appreciate that. Jack Riley, for being in the chat, always a great contributor. Thank you so much. Vote for Pedro, as said a number of times, for sending me the coin. I appreciate that. Great opportunity for discussion. Paul and Eric, thank you guys for being here as always.
You are right, Luther.
Can we mention real quick
very different.
The Wounded Warriors coming up? Go check out Vote for Pedro if you have questions about where to send donations for the auction, or it's in November. So check out, make sure you guys are supporting the Wounded Warriors.
And Sorcerer Stan says, I think I chose the wrong time to unmute myself.
Yeah.
He unmuted. He unmuted just as I was telling the joke. He's like, oh, that was.
Bye, everybody. Have a blessed Sunday.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate you.
Each other.
I got to take off too, Paul, or Frosty and Paula. So I'll see y'all soon.
Sounds good, Eric. All right, folks. Well, hey, if you are not a subscriber to Copper Coins, make sure you go over. They'll be doing a reveal. I think they got one today, but I know they've got a reveal planned for tomorrow. So go check out Copper Coins. Again, a great resource if you're looking varieties and errors. There is one of the mint marks that has been attributed. Eric looked at it. Was 93. That was the one that we were talking about. I was wrong on the attribution of that. So Eric corrected me on that. So thank you so much for that. I do have the 10 coins sitting here. I'm going to be doing some attributes later today. I'll put out a short letting you guys know what that was, and then I will link that to that video. So if you guys want more kind of coin searches and stuff from the channel, please reach out, let me know. Later this week, I'm dropping another story time. If you guys like the stories, I want you to do me a favor. comment. Tell me that you guys like the stories. I really enjoy doing them. But just because I like them, if you guys don't, I'm not going to just continue out. So if you like the story times, let me know. This one is about the El Cazador. And if I move this over, you'll see this one. Again, it is a ship coin, but this is the shipwreck that changed the world. I'll be doing a story time about that. It is a great story. This is actually something that I'll be probably doing a follow up next weekend, talking about some specifics about this and some really interesting, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of duality in the fact that a lot of the stuff that happened and the reason there were so many coins on this ship was because of something that happened with fiat currency. So if you're interested in learning about that, this will be more of a stacker style conversation versus numismatic. There will be numismatic stuff engaged, but this will be more of a stacking strategy, talking about the Fed, the money, stuff like that. So please join me for that as well. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate it. Please make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you have questions, exclamation point, email. Send me an email, comment in chat. Let me know. All right, folks, be well, be blessed. You guys have a wonderful day. And you know what? I will see you guys in the streams. Take care, all.